Good morning, people. What? Week 02 / readme. Hey there, Sicko and Phantomask. All right. Exit. And let's see. Go ahead and open up week 2 so I can write some stuff here. Oh, such a good morning. Added some notes here, added some better organization to the first couple days. It's been, in case you guys are wondering, I'm moving a lot of this content from basically like a full edit of everything I've ever done at SkillStack. So I'm like, at the same time that we're doing this, a lot of this content I'm moving over from other places where I've been storing it. And frankly, most of it's going to be beginner based. Had someone send me an email saying that they thought that I was mostly focused just on beginners on the stream, and I guess that's probably what, hey, bonjour. I guess that's probably what you would conclude if all you ever saw was what I do in the beginner boost. And the beginner boost is kind of dominating my consciousness right now because it's so important that I get it captured and done right. According to the ways that I like to do it. But one of the reasons I'm doing this is because, like, I get to write things like my rant against Google. You're not going to find that in most educational circles. Google's stupid title for system administrators who code. So, like, site reliability engineer has been going around. We've been talking about it on the stream and in the chat. And this is one of the reasons I have to do it myself because I mean, if I had, I mean, I'm certainly welcome other people to submit things, but I went ahead and found a copy of their book for free. I didn't even bother asking if it was legal or not. This is a book that was listed in GitHub, so I figure if somebody's going to stop making it available, they'll take it down. But don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Lord rubbish. Is it started or is it straight in 10 minutes? Gotta switch to Linux. I don't start until 11:10. So we're just shooting the breeze until 11:10. I'm gonna go ahead and post the shooting the breeze part to the YouTube. You really enjoyed the part about non-concurrent agreement, non-compete, working for a big company. Yeah. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I went ahead and added that to the legal. Hey, Kamikaze, I added it to the. I organized this day a lot better. The first day after having our conversation, so I put a section there. Don't taint yourself. Know what you're signing, and these are legal considerations I want to talk about right away. So I'm glad we got to talk about that. In case you guys didn't watch yesterday, when we got into talking about licenses and stuff. I started out just with a warning about looking at code that you may not be aware is going to make you unable to work for another company who makes that same kind of code, and how serious it can be to accidentally, to accidentally, lock yourself out of the ability to work in an entire industry because you've accidentally, worked on something that another company would be competing, and they would, you can do that just fine unless you sign a non-compete, which is pretty much what every single company wants you to sign when you get there. We also talked about how a lot of big companies, when you sign on to work there, you literally give them every thought you have, waking, in quiet time, every single thought, they own it. And I'd really be interested to see how the signing agreements have changed with some of the big companies since the time that I did mine, like so many years ago. Because there's no way you're going to hold on to good talent by telling them that they cannot do things in the open source world and things like that. I think that's why Sun was such a success as a Stanford University. Just in case you guys know, last I read, Stanford University has got the most permissive business environment of almost any of the colleges. I think MIT has it as well. I'm not sure. MIT's, I think, changed their mind, but it used to be that, like the university I went to, BYU, I went to Brigham Young, they own every paper, every innovation you make while you're at the college, and it's like you sign it away. So you're basically stifled, because if you innovate anything that you want to make into a business, they own it as long as the idea germinated with you while you were at the college. So just be really careful. I know we have people that are going into college or thinking about college. Those are, if you're going into technology, those are really, really big things, because some people have some of their best ideas while they're in college. And Sun Microsystems, that's how they got started. Stanford University Networking, I think, the Sun project was, in fact, they were so permissive, they let them rent space on the university and run their company for a while they were there. In fact, Stanford, the more I learned about them, they're one of the colleges that I would have applied to had I had an opportunity to do it again. The more I learn about them, their GE, in addition to their technology, the balance between the two seems really attractive to me. Anyway, I mean, we're just shooting the breeze here. 30 seconds to get into starting, and then we'll go into today's agenda for day 2. Good morning, everybody who hasn't said hi. I know you're there. Welcome. There's lots to cover here, but I think we'll have fun with it. I don't. Depends on what book you're talking about. Oh, don't get the Definitive Guide to JavaScript. It's one of the worst books ever. Is that? I don't. Is that? I don't. Oh boy, mute. Hey, look, it's playing me. What the heck? What the heck is this? Oh, this is the new. They did the new thing. Anyway, so I'm going to skip past that. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. All right, let's go ahead and start. Back on Fedora. Great. Having a look at those things. Just be very careful with the books you read. Make sure you get lots of input on the books. That's the one thing I have done a lot of book research, because I've been trying. I have to isolate the right books, and I don't think anybody should read any JavaScript book, but the Eloquent JavaScript or Learning JavaScript. That one from Ethan Brown. All of the other books are way out of date, and they'll teach you things that are considered really bad practice now. You should definitely understand what var is, but you should never use it by choice. And you need to know why. That's one example of JavaScript. So if you open up a JavaScript book and it has var everywhere, throw it in the trash. Or just put it down. Don't read it. If a book is trying to make you feel stupid and says things like you don't know JavaScript, just go the other direction. That's why I like the Head First books so much. They're very approachable. They seem simple, but they've got a lot of good content. So far, the biggest downside with the C book is the Head First C book is just the errors, and they do have an errata on that. So I'm trying to get through the annotations on that. I started reading Google's SRB book last night and couldn't make it through the first chapter without. My annotations, just read them. They're really triggered, because they're trying to claim that they invented SRE, and they totally did not invent that. It was happening all over in the industry, and they gave it a new title that's not even accurate. They apologized to the world for the title, and now everybody has to use it to get a job, because that's the only way you can find sysadmin jobs now, even though the SRE is a sysadmin who codes, the end, and who is focused on web services mostly. I mean, it's a superset of DevOps. It's I'm just going to tell you right now, when you're going to look for jobs, everybody thinks that they should be looking. Oh no way, man! You don't know JS is a disastrously bad book, and if you choose to read it and learn from it, fantastic. Have fun with that. It's horrible. It's horrible. It does things that are not needed to teach a beginner, nor does it even get the stuff right that it talks about. Completely discounts the whole functional scope of use of the this variable. I'm just telling the other beginners out there my opinion of it. Don't read it. Not to mention the whole shenanigans that he does to try to give it away for free, but not really. No, so not a fan of that book. Even greater, not a fan of the author. All right, so so let's talk about Linux hosting providers. Okay, I mean, the books are a very personal thing too, but I'm just telling you, Crockford's books are just really old, super old. Crockford's books are super duper old. Let's not talk about that. When we get to the JavaScript section, maybe things will have changed by then, but we'll go ahead and do that. It's not for beginners. It's also not for advanced people who, in my opinion, but you can like it. It's up to you. That's the really great thing. You can everybody learns in a different way. I choose to learn resources that don't make me feel dumb and are accurate. And his book is inaccurate in many places, like very inaccurate. All right, it's day two. Day two, we're talking about hosting providers for Linux. And there's obviously no way we're going to get through all of those hosting providers right there. The big ones, we don't even need to mention them. Why are they listed? Well, again, so the whole approach of the Beginner Boost is more than showing you and teaching you. I don't like the word teach at all. It's really important that you know that something exists. And so for a lot of you, you're not even going to know it's out there. And I mean, I continually am told, I didn't know about that. That's kind of cool. I didn't know about that. Wow. I was like, man, I wish I'd known about this 10 years ago. Those are the regular things that I hear. And so that's my primary goal on the Beginner Boost, is for you to know, at least consider what you should be learning out there and make you aware of stuff so you can go manage your own learning. We're going to be spending a lot of time on DigitalOcean today. In fact, the bulk of the time will be on DigitalOcean. So here we go. If talking about we're not going to talk about books anymore today. The short answer about book learning is there's two ways. We talked about this on the first day. Go back and watch the first week. So every time I talk about book learning is comprehensive, even if it's outdated. It's comprehensive. It's a way to address your gaps. Project learning, which is we're going to do a little of that today, is a way for you to address your boredom. So I want to work on a fun thing. I'm going to make a thing here, Magic 8 Ball, Magic 9 Ball, install a Minecraft server. So when you should combine comprehensive learning techniques with project-based fun learning techniques. You need both of them. I've seen people who have just learned by project-based, they just jumping around they're like so ADHD, they like working on a different project every day, and they're learning amazing things. They're usually very intelligent. They're autodidacts. They also have massive gaps in their learning. So if I check on them, hey, do you know how to do file redirection? They don't know how to do it, but they've installed 5 different versions of Linux. So as you go forward, and just consider that when we're going to get into the book conversation a little bit more next week, because we're going to start our first book next week. But so just know that. So that's why if you want to read about it, you can go to /books, rbx.gg/books, to read about my thoughts on books in general. That my opinion on books has actually changed. At one point, I was really against them, and because of all the reasons people cite, they're out of date, they cost money, blah blah blah. They're big, they kill paper, trees, But in general, though, you get a single voice and it's consistent. It goes through it. So I don't want to talk about that right now. I burned up a few minutes too much on that already. I'm going to tell you right now, most of the day today is going to be playing around on DigitalOcean with a Minecraft server. I chose a Minecraft server just because it's a really fun project that everybody generally likes to do, but you can put anything on there. So the goal today is for you to understand what hosting providers are. In other words, how to get Linux in the cloud, what cloud means, and how to use it and why you would use it, and then to actually run through some fun on this. Yes, we're going to try a little bit on the Minecraft. So FOSS contributions is a fantastic way to learn when you're ready to do that, but that's not comprehensive. All right, so back to, I'm just looking at this thing here. So I don't really need to bring your attention to these kind of, everybody knows about Amazon, right? Amazon Web Services is not actually Web Services anymore. I think they've even probably changed the name at this point. Everybody watching this, if you want to become like a basic technologist, you should go ahead. It's a part of GCP. That's right. So you should go ahead and try Amazon Web Services. It's free. I believe at this point they have to tie you to a bank account somehow or to a credit card, even though they don't necessarily charge you anything. So I'm just going to challenge everybody here on your own time. It's going to take you a while to go ahead and start up, a Linux host of some kind on the Amazon Web Services. And everybody knows this is the big gorilla in the room. They're by far the most successful, and the largest cloud provider, no matter what another company claims, and particularly IBM. IBM loves to claim to be the leader in cloud, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? Because they're definitely not the leader in the same sort of cloud that Amazon is. What does cloud mean? We'll talk about that in a second. You have Google Compute Engine, and then you have Microsoft Azure, DigitalOcean, Linode, and then we have this concept of APIs and why that matters. Azure, GCP, and AWS. So let's talk about cloud for a bit. There's actually a document on this. So if you go, I wrote a little bit of a document on what cloud is. Cloud is a way of calling all of the services you can get. Well, what's a service? There's a definition on the site as well for that. A service in this sense is like an IT service, like a database or some place to run your machine. In our case, Linux, right? Hosting a Linux system. That's what a service is. So cloud services are just those services that are provided over the internet from a service provider like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, DigitalOcean, and all the rest. So you're going to see, and when you talk about cloud, what they really mean is IT cloud services and any number of those services. And there was a little confusion in the chat already about this. It's like, well, I thought Google Compute Engine is it's as a part of the Google Cloud Platform. Well, most of these providers provide multiple services in the cloud, and providing Linux hosting is just one of them. Anybody guess which one? Is it software as a service? Probably not. Software as a service, by the way, is like Microsoft 360. Microsoft 360 is a service that you use, or Gmail, something like that. Proton Mail. These are services. It's software as a service. You're actually directly connecting to the software and using it as if it were an app. Web apps. Platform as a service. This is a place to put your app. So if you want to have an app, where do I want to put my app on a thing? So I want to make my own, game or mail service and then put it on there. So I personally find like Heroku, services like that are kind of in the platform as a service. Then you have it just keeps getting broader. You have infrastructure as a service, and Linux hosting falls within infrastructure as a service. They're providing the host infrastructure. By the way, in this sense, IT infrastructure means the networking, the hardware, the computers, the backups, the power, all of that's infrastructure. Infrastructure in a broader sense means, the streets and roads of a civilization that allow it to work. That's what the word means. But when you said infrastructure as a service, they're almost always talking about IT services such as, in fact, some people do provide networking, virtual private networks. You can have a whole IT shop on DigitalOcean or anywhere, and then have all of the systems, running there, and then connect to a VPN. You can run your whole business IT department off of a cloud provider and not even have any of that on site, which means, someplace you can access. Of course, you're paying for it. The big thing that made all of this possible is that they can dial it up and down as needed. That's what Amazon, I'm pretty sure Amazon championed that. So they are the ones who can say, you're paying more now than you're paying less, but depending on how much you use it for. And being able to dial something up and down is very, very appealing to people who are providing, particularly people who are like small time shops, but even big houses. And in fact, if you want to know the whole DevOps, Docker, containerization, Kubernetes, if you've heard those words, what they're generally talking about is like making their own cloud inside of their company, so that they don't have to be dependent on any of these external cloud providers. They can build their own cloud. To me, that's essentially what the DevOps profession is. It's like you are basically Amazon for another company, and you're helping them set all that up, and you're using all the technologies that are there to do that. So where does Linux play into this? Well, Linux is a big part of it, of most of the infrastructure as a service in all of these situations. In fact, Amazon's created their own version of Linux that updates more quickly than the standard Ubuntu version. So that is one way to consider. We have function as a service. It's a relatively new arrival. I think it's been around for about 2 years now, but I want to say that Amazon Lambda championed that. Function as a service is where, and you can watch a really great video on this, where rather than putting your software, having it be software, you write your own application, and you don't put your application on their platform as a service. You write your application so it runs in the web browser or someplace else. And then when you need to do something, when you need to save images, when you need to, store something, you just call out to their function, to their action, and then run that on the back end. And so they have a structure that they have what's called a Lambda, or something's called actions. And these are pretty dang cool. In fact, you get these for free on Netlify. So if something falls outside the realm of your nice, pretty static site, and you need to do something a little bit extra, you can actually put it there. You can put the function and write actually in Go or JavaScript. You can write the function as a part of your site, and when somebody tries to, your JavaScript can call that, and it will run that, and then it will come back, and it will actually do the function, and then they'll just charge you based on how much computing time you use, which is the big thing now. And then database as a service is a relatively new arrival as well. Right now, the leader in that is FaunaDB, which, by the way, I'm going to go pull up because I really want to play with this. I mean, I know it's going to cost money and stuff, but FaunaDB is an entire database with its own query language, akin to MongoDB, if you know what it is, that runs from within over JSON API connections, basically connecting to another web service and having it store and retrieve your stuff. I may actually put the checklists from SkillStack into a FaunaDB so that I don't have to maintain a database anywhere else. So there's a lot. There's probably some other ones out there, but database as a service is a pretty big thing. These are the big, AAS things, but you're going to start to see more and more of these as time goes on. So just be aware that they are a thing. So the one we're talking about today is infrastructure as a service, and infrastructure as a service includes, mostly the Linux hosting. There's some people that or some organizations who do just infrastructure hosting. What's the difference between function as a service and APIs? Well, you have to use an API for function as a service. So the function as a service it's just essentially an API that you can call. Yep. That's what they function, except for they have a standard way for you to call that, and you can write the function and they store the function. An API is something you would have to write the function and the backend server code to handle the response, like in Rails or Node.js or Go or whatever. You'd have to do that. Okay. Top ones, OrientDB and Neo4j. Thank you for that. Web scraping may be considered function as a service. I don't know. I don't think so, because there would have to be something in the process of doing that. All right, so let's go back to the. We only have a half an hour to go through. I think. I think we're gonna have plenty of time today. I actually pushed off some things that I was going to do today. So we just really need to talk about services and understand what the hosting providers are and why we would pick one. So let's just summarize that. We can maybe debate about this a little bit. I love it when we fight in the chat in a good way. So Google Compute Engine is another one. That's Google's own compute engine, and it does pretty damn well. I haven't had a chance to use it. It was a long time ago. It used to not be allowed. You had to get special permission to use the thing, but that's changed. Like since a long time ago, you can use all these. Azure is extremely popular. In fact, the guy from Microsoft, Satya, the CEO, I should know his last name. Nadeem, I think. He was from Azure. As I understand it, Azure was a separate thing, and it was a cloud, and Microsoft acquired Azure, and eventually he became the CEO. And Satya Nadella, yeah. And he's widely credited for the massive transformation that has taken place in that company. And if you've been paying any attention, Microsoft is not the same company. It is massively different. They're embracing Linux fully. They've been pushing cloud at the very top end. So yeah, do they have a free tier? I've never signed up for Azure. I would like to try it. And your Google Compute Engine, Amazon services. The problem with signing up for a cloud provider is some of them actually require you to pay money up front. Linode, for example, if I remember right, requires you to do that. And how about hosting a VM yourself? Okay, so just so you know, so day 3.0 where is going to be about VMs. Okay, so today is just cloud providers. Tomorrow is VM, and the day after that will be, they definitely are. The day after that will be hardware. Okay, so this is the order for today. This week we are going to be going through. So the first day was just kind of getting our bearings on why Linux and legal things. Day 2 is about cloud, all about cloud provide. That's honestly, for a lot of you, that's where you're going to experience a lot of Linux is in the cloud. And then the third day is on virtual machines, and virtual machines are ways of running Linux on your computer without getting rid of the operating system that's already there. And then the fourth day will be how to kick off your current operating system and putting Linux on there, just like I've done here, and using that the whole time. Yeah. So day 2 we'll be talking about all of the different ones. The 2 primary virtual machines that we'll talk about tomorrow are VirtualBox and VMware. We will talk a little bit about containerization, but not at great length. I had a tough time with that because containers technically are not virtual machines, but they're let's see. I am on Arch Linux. Okay, so I was just gonna say, yeah, but they kind of get grouped together. So we will talk about this tomorrow. I don't want to get ahead of myself though. So some of these are not going to be easy for you to sign up for and test without a commitment. But I'm going to tell you, for example, DigitalOcean is really great in this regard because you can pay your $5 for your first node, use it for a while, and then delete it, and you still have your account. They're not going to get rid of your account. They'll keep your account. So you can go back and turn it back on. And I've actually done that for as long as a year before because I actually have a lot of network. I use all my DNS through there too. So we'll talk about all of that. All right, let's take a breath. I think we're actually making a pretty good time through this material. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about in regard to these providers? A source of most of the malicious traffic to my network. Yeah. DigitalOcean, because it's so easy, let's talk about that. So first of all, a lot of people running DigitalOcean instances because they are. So why? Let's talk about the cons of running your own you're firing up your own host. And this is, by the way, one of the reasons you would use function as a service instead of infrastructure as a service. When you run Linux as from a DigitalOcean or Amazon, you sign off on taking care of everything to keep that thing up to date. And it's Rackspace was on here for a while. I guess Rackspace could go on here. Rackspace is another provider. I actually left Rackspace for DigitalOcean some time back. There's a number of providers out there. I suppose that's big enough to cover. I would put them kind of between DigitalOcean. I don't personally care for Rackspace. I actually interviewed when I left. They wanted to interview me. They didn't ask me why I was leaving. It was tough because I was trying to like it, but. And the other thing is really important as you go through these is knowing what I'm trying to get here we go. So when you commit to a cloud provider, that's a big deal. In fact, about 4 or 5 years ago, was it 4 or 5 years ago? Oh, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I seriously felt like I needed to provide Amazon cloud services over, introduction to the people I was helping. And I even considered getting a cloud certificate. They have a big deal. It's a whole infrastructure and ecosystem and everything. But I will say that I did not, and I went ahead and I went over there and then I came back because it's too much. It's super powerful. It's definitely the go-to thing. But the interface for DigitalOcean is so much simpler. In fact, DigitalOcean has been heralded as the cloud for the cloud for developers. And it's really fast to start a thing up, which might be the reason that so many people, there's two reasons I think that so many people get hack traffic from DigitalOcean. One is it's super easy to start up a VM. In fact, that's what this whole Grok appeal of hosting APIs. The DigitalOcean API, with a couple curl commands, you can fire up a droplet in a minute or less, and you can have access to the thing and put whatever you want on there and run it, and then delete the thing, And so, and DigitalOcean's abuse department sometimes ignores complaints that might be true. I have had people's DigitalOcean accounts, the servers get turned off because the other reason that hack traffic comes from them is because DigitalOcean often gets compromised. So some newbie developer decides they want a server, and they pop up a server with a really weak password. And actually, for a very long time, there was not even anything stopping them from using password login. They do that now. We're going to talk about it pretty soon. And so people would hack the system, and then they would attack. And then those systems, I know they do that because there's 2 or 3 systems that got turned down for being a part of a denial of service, which means their machine had been compromised, and all it was doing was launching a bunch of traffic against another site to try to take it down. So this is the thing you should know about cloud. So the big why should I use cloud hosting provider? Okay, so let's answer that question and then we'll move on. You should use a cloud hosting provider if you don't have, first of all, if you want to not be insecure in your house. So you can do all of this stuff from home. The problem is that when you do it from home, if something gets compromised, your home network gets compromised unless you know what you're doing. Unless you really architect your home network well, if someone connects to your Minecraft server at home, they will get access to your home network from wherever they are if there's a bug in anything in the server. So that's a consideration. If you are in the cloud, there's a lot better uptime. Your computer is connected directly to the backbone of the internet. So even though they might meter how much traffic you have like really high bandwidth, like T1 or more level of bandwidth available to you. Whereas if you're at home, you better, even on fiber, you're still going to be really limited. So that's why you would host like that. In the old days, we used to have a thing called co-location. I think there's still some people doing co-location. Co-location is when, electrical costs. There's another one. Sometimes with co-location, what you could do is you would actually buy a computer or give them a piece of hardware, and they would put it on site for you. Your company sells co-location, yep, and they would protect your box and take care of it and everything, but in every way you own the hardware. It means you do whatever you want on the hardware. Co-location, I think, is still an interesting thing. Some people say it's a dying business, but I think it might be interesting. They want their own hardware. Yeah, and I kind of feel that way too. So for example, if you use DigitalOcean, you have to use they share CPU with other systems. They use SSDs, so you can't have swap because it kills the hard drives. So there are some reasons you might want to run your own hardware. But generally speaking, when you want a cloud offering, it's because you don't want to mess with stuff. You just want a server that works. So hybrid cloud will survive. I was just going to say, GitHub has a package for DigitalOcean. Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, they do have you're talking about. I didn't realize they did that. Co-location as a service sounds interesting. I think that there is a future in that. I'm really interested to see what comes from Oxide Computer, which is it computer? So this is hyperscale infrastructure for the rest of us. We're building a new kind of server, true rack scale design, bringing cloud hyperscale innovations around density, efficiency, cost, reliability, manageability, and security to everyone running on-premise computer infrastructure. So I personally, On the Metal, there's a podcast out there this is Brian Cantrell and Jess Frazzle. If you know them, they started this company and they've been doing a podcast, and I find this really fascinating. I did a full video on it called Amazon Meet Oxide on YouTube, but I think that this is kind of an indication of where some of the industry might be going. There's this big, huge pendulum that swings between hosting in the cloud and hosting on site, hosting in the cloud and hosting on site. And it's been centralized, decentralized. It's like since the beginning of time, it's gone back and forth between the two, and you can trace it all through, the last 100 years or so, and see how that works. But this company is a relatively new company that's making all kinds of waves right now, and it's doing everything different than what everybody would expect. It's basically trying to make cloud solutions you buy and put on site, basically. But hardware that you're putting on site. So the one thing I don't think has been covered, I think they're shooting at, is we talked about co-location and hardware, right? Well, a lot of GitLab and GitHub and everybody, they're all about having a business version of their infrastructure, of their product. But there's not a lot of one-stop shopping for cloud hardware that you can just plug and play with. And Oxide Computer sounds like that's what they're shooting to do. So it's almost like they're sensing the movement within some of the large organizations that don't want to be dependent on service cloud providers, and the more and more of these companies are adding budget to build their own cloud, which is really good, by the way, if you are into DevOps and SRE, site reliability engineering, and system administration, because I sense that that career right now, I think it's only growing at a rate of 8%. But I sense that the system administration career is going to be growing. So that's like something to watch. And how does that relate to Linux Cloud? Well, almost all of them are Linux Cloud. So system administrator, these other ones didn't have numbers, but so it says it's growing at a rate of 5% with a pretty average salary, for IT anyway. And then, so I don't know. I have a feeling that position is gonna grow a little bit. But Oxide is one to watch. I think I think something's going on here. I really do. They really changed their setup a little bit, so I don't know what I'm doing. So they have a podcast, and they talk about On the Metal. So basically, they've decided that's a thing. So yeah, let's see, charges. Maybe a little cloud will take over AWS. Don't know. Its own rival to Amazon Web Services. That's an interesting one. So it sounds like there's a few of them. All right. I think that's enough talk about cloud. So let's start playing with it and doing some stuff with it. Being an autodidact, learning about cloud, the best way to do it is to actually create accounts on these things. Bare metal cloud will take over Packet? That's a good question. Let's take a peek at that. Packet, sign up and deploy an Equinix company. I probably have to undark mode this. Yep. Accept the cookies. Got any questions? Somebody's here to talk to you, but not really. Minimize cost, study of substrate for hybrid cloud. All right. So again, this is supposed to be a beginner boost. So if anything, this gives you just a sense of like what's going on. Let's just wrap up the cloud conversation by saying one thing is for sure. Everybody, Equinoxia, everybody thinks that cloud is where it's at. And everybody thinks that, whether it's cloud on site, whether it's cloud, at Amazon, cloud. And in fact, many of the IT people who watch IT Meta Group and all the others will definitively, yes, destroy your resources. You will rack up debt. Yeah. So cloud is, if you create a resource and then you don't do anything with it, it will cost you money over time. So yeah. And by the way, if it's even a small thing, you could like add on $1 a month or something and then have it surprise you later. I've had that happen before. Or I left something on and all of a sudden I had a bill for $40. I was like, ugh. So that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Uh, yeah, cloud is a whole bunch of other knowledge areas, containers, Kubernetes, serverless. Exactly. What does all that mean? So just know cloud is the thing. Some people would say that cloud is what's defining success right now. Oh, wow. 20K AWS fee. AWS is really good at jacking the cost up as the services go up. And that's one of the reasons I'm such a fan of DigitalOcean, because I know where I stand so much better. One of the hard parts about Amazon is to know where you stand. It's very difficult from where I'm coming from, to know how much money I owe and where I stand and what servers I even have installed. What's up with my thing? Got a thing here. I feel like there we go. Spent 100K credits in just 3 months. Yeah, just be really careful with cloud, because that's how they're planning on making their money, right? Now, on the other side of this, I know of pen testers who will create basically a supercomputer and run it for like 5 hours and crack serious passwords and then turn the thing off. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If you want to get your feet wet in hosting and running your own server in the cloud, I definitely suggest DigitalOcean above all the others. I think Linode would be my next pick. I almost changed and created one the other day. The biggest difference here is that Linode does not, DigitalOcean does not provide Arch servers if you want them. You can do it on DigitalOcean, but it's harder. You have to create an Ubuntu system and basically throw it away and rebuild it as an Arch system if you want to do it that way. Also, don't check enterprise support for basic cloud. It can cost a lot of money. Yeah, the cloud is generally catering to bigger business and not to small people, and that's one of the reasons that DigitalOcean and Linode are really popular with smaller time people that are learning. The reason I overwhelmingly recommend DigitalOcean for beginners is because the interface is so drop dead simple to use. It's just an absolutely fantastic UI. And so for that reason, I generally will teach people how to use it through that. But the APIs, you can actually turn one on and off. I think we've covered a lot of that. Let's go ahead and start one up. And it's actually going to go, the rest is going to go rather quickly today. We'll do SSH key setup and create our DigitalOcean account and that kind of thing. In fact, I'm going to go show you how to do the keys in the DigitalOcean account creation in the next 10 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and create a droplet. Yeah, AWS is not for beginners, but that's why if you want a kind of a nice, happy experience with cloud first, start with a nice, easy cloud to understand, like a provider like DigitalOcean, and then when you go over to AWS, you'll be like, oh, that's what they mean. So DigitalOcean is kind of like the Pop OS of Linux, right? You're gonna learn Arch, after you understand, what cloud is and how it runs and works and everything. Heroku is a different one though, so let's make sure we mention it. Glitch and Heroku had come up a lot, so let's put them on here. Strictly speaking, I don't think, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think Heroku is technically a Linux provider. It's a yep, that's a PAS. So we talked about that earlier in the stream. So Heroku is a platform as a service. It's not infrastructure as a service. And although it's really awesome, it is not a place to practice using Linux, because it's designed to run any one of these applications, which is really cool. You can write your own application backends, but they take care of all of the server stuff for you. And that's great if that's what you want, but that's not what we want today. Today we want our own Linux machine that we have full control over. We can start and stop it. We can decide who has access. We can patch it when we want to. We can build it however we want. So basically, Heroku would be the equivalent, just to use a comparison, in the Minecraft world of going to one of the Minecraft services where you click on a few web buttons and you get a Minecraft server, right? So it's running your Minecraft server, and you can tell what plugins you want, but you have to use the interface, and you can make your own Minecraft world however you want, but you really are stuck. If you want to have your own Minecraft server and install your own plugins the way you want, when you want, then you need infrastructure as a service. So you need to have a computer out there that can run Minecraft, but you have to do all of the installation and setup of the server. So that's a big distinction between Heroku. I believe Glitch is the same. I don't know. Let me go check. I'm pretty sure Glitch falls into the platform as a service as well, as opposed to infrastructure as a service. Unlock more magic, memory boost activated. I have a lot of experience with this. I've seen it once. I have a feeling, yeah, it's platform as a service too. Yep, new project. So, and Netlify kind of falls into that space as well. Netlify has a lot of platform as a service offerings, even though it's, it's not. By the way, let me talk about that for a second. Yes, deployment poetry. Yeah. So basically, let's say you want to use MySQL. Well, welcome to part of 300 MySQL neighbors in one container. Heroku isn't a cloud. Yeah, they're PAS only. Okay, good. So there is one thing that I'll leave on this is that when you're trying to make a decision about whether to use a platform as a service. So, for example, Netlify is a platform on a service as well, right? That's where you can store your web pages. We've done that in earlier streams. But you can't really run anything on there in terms of like install software on it. You can do a lot though. I mean, like you can, have it do your forms for you. You can have it do, a password, front end to your site. You can even run Amazon Lambda functions, which is almost equivalent of writing your own code and installing it on the system. But you can't install anything on Netlify. You just use their service, their platform as a service. And their specific platform is web hosting, static site web hosting. And so this is another reason that some services, when you're making a decision about what you want to do with your Linux, you should really think about things you shouldn't do. And I'm actually jumping ahead here down to other cool things you can do besides running Minecraft on a server. And I'm going to actually move this. So what can you do on one of these services, on one of these in a cloud? What can you do? Okay, so you can host an Agario clone, you can host a Doom server, you can host a WebSockets game, you can put your own database on there. You can have, some people will have one database on a server and something on another thing. But I did want to talk about why web hosting, it's a bad idea for you to start up a Linux server just to put your website on there. Because just as like the Heroku thing, there's already a platform as a service that does that. And it makes more sense for you to do your website on Netlify than it does for you to install Linux on an infrastructure as a service host provider, and to install Nginx or Apache and to run it the way you want it to. But if you really wanted that level of control of a server, then you could definitely do it that way. But in the case of a website, it's almost never a good idea to do that, because what you could do instead, your server to the world, and there are bad people out there, yes, they'll be able to see your server. But a lot of times when you have a website that's on a platform provider like that, nobody can hack it. If they hack it, they hack Netlify themselves, right? So that's a real solid reason to not do that. You don't want a Linux server in the cloud unless you're really biting off on all of the work that it takes to maintain that thing. You've really got to do the security on it, because otherwise you're just a hacker heyday. They're going to find you. And that's actually one of the reasons I believe that Amazon has made their own version of Linux. Their version of Linux is constantly updated. So when you use their version of Linux, it is basically, they call it evergreen, which means that it constantly deploys to new security patches all the time. And some people really, really don't want that. They want full control. But other people saying, no, I want you to upgrade my server for me. I want a server, but I don't want to do the security upgrades and patches myself, because they're really annoying. And that's the reason hackers get so much fun time, is because nobody really messes with it. So don't pick, Linux hosting as your first solution. Make sure that you can't do the other things first. But since this is a Linux week, just keep that in mind. If you wanted to do any of these things, you have to have your own full-blown server and you have to maintain it. So that's, I wanted to use the web hosting as an example of why you might not want to do that. Well, people say, well, how do I use a database on my website? And that's where the whole serverless idea comes from, which means you could use like FaunaDB or some of the others and build in, database as a service into your front end application, and then there's no back end for it. If you do need the other big reason to use Netlify instead of or something like Netlify instead of you're hosting your own server, is when you put that website out there, it's automatically distributed to some 300, 400, 500 content delivery nodes on a CDN, and what they do is that means that puts your web content closer to people. If you were to try to set that up, the infrastructure to do that, you'd be basically building your own Cloudflare or one of these providers who does that very same thing. So rather than doing that, what you should do is you should isolate the core things that are required to do that, and maybe run one server that provides that service as what they call an API request, which means instead of giving you a web page, I give you essentially something like a web page, but it's just JSON, which is a bunch of structured data. And so that's what, if you hear about GraphQL and JSON and that kind of thing, that's what's going on there. So modern web design, web architecture does not get generated on the server. Modern stuff has pretty heavy front ends, with the front end meaning all the stuff that runs inside your web browser, and then they have very lightweight backends, and the backends are queried. They're queried using fetch in a number of ways from JavaScript to do, to add a user an account, or to look up information, or even to run, a collaborative Agareo server. It uses WebSockets, and that service, the one service is required for the website or the web application, is running on a server by itself. And yes, that's limited. And in order to scale those, you'd have to say, okay, what server do you want to be on? Like if you're playing World of Warcraft, right? You have to pick what server you want to be on, because scaling, WebSockets or scaling that thing on the back end is a lot harder because it needs to be centralized. And there's some really crazy architectures out there to keep all of that, write stuff. So like I'm going to write new information. For example, I'm trying to make a way for you to click on, I did this, and have it shared across multiple computers. Well, the only way to do that is to have one of these, to have either database as a service, or to start up my own server and put something on there that when you click on the button on the web page, it stores it. It stores it on that one spot. Well, how do you do that, for scalability? What if I wanted to have 100 of those little things? Well, you have to figure out how every one of those things could write and then synchronize up over time so that everybody knows about everybody else's changes. And that gets really, really hairy. That's probably some of the hairiest area of, and that's why serverless has become such a thing, or Fauna, or data, functions as a service, because those functions are all centralized, and yet you can still get the benefit of your web applications being deployed, to everybody all over the world using a CDN. So that's what I wanted to say. When you're starting to pick, some of this is an architectural decision, I realize, and I need to take a break. When I come back, we're going to go ahead and start setting up our DigitalOcean droplet, and we're going to go ahead and install a Minecraft server. Today, if you want to follow along and do this, I suggest you go ahead and create a DigitalOcean account. As far as I know, at this moment, you can create a DigitalOcean account. They'll want your information from you, and then you'll sign up for like the minimum, which is like, I think $5 a month, and you can just go through it and you can set everything up and practice doing it. If you do it though, maybe pick a $10 a month if you can afford it for now, just to give it a try. And then post your referral link. I didn't know. I didn't know there was a thing like that. If you want to refer me, that would be nice. But I'm not asking for that. I didn't know it was a thing even. So I'm not pushing DigitalOcean other than to say that I like them as a service. Okay, past streams just Twitch and YouTube. So the question that I have here for everybody is, the thing I want you to just know is I'm almost sure that when you sign up for DigitalOcean just to get your account over there, you can then delete it. You can then delete your droplet and maintain your account so it's there for you when you want to pull it up. And I know for a fact that when you don't have any resources, I think they charged me like like 50 cents a month. Just because I have some network services over there. I think I have my DNS is over there. So I'm going to take a break now, and when we come back, we'll start playing around with the DigitalOcean droplets. And but this give you 15 minutes to give you some time to set up your account over there, and you can try to do that. We'll show your link to post to us. Will it? My profile. Let me see if I can get logged in while you're doing that. DigitalOcean in. I know I'm probably going to dox my IP sometime today. I'm going to try really hard not to, but it's going to be hard. Yeah, I'm going to have to sign in too. I thought I was already signed in from last time. Do I have mine set up to sign in from GitHub? I wonder if I do. Let me check. I should have checked this earlier. I might have to. Nope. Yep, I do. There I am. All right. So it's on my profile, you say? My profile. Hey, there's my password. I think I'm glad it's not showing it. This is like terrifying. Droplet limit 25. Referrals. Share via Twitter. I didn't know there was a referral link, so I guess I will at your request. There you go. What's the problem sharing your IP? I'll let them tell you. Yeah. I know I don't need to show my dashboard on the screen, but I have another problem because my OBS has been minimized, and I'm running a window manager right now that can't bring forward my OBS without turning it off. Does anybody, if you guys figure out how to send the signal to OBS or to an application to have it run in the background, that'd be great. Hackers will have a heyday. That's the short answer. All right, I'll be back in 10 minutes, and we should be fine after that. All right. No, you don't download the droplet. The droplet is up in the cloud. You're creating a droplet up there. I'm going to go through which ones to create, but I suggest creating an Ubuntu 64-bit. Do not pick the $40 one if I were you. Yep. All right, so back at... I'm going to be back here very soon. I'll be back at 12:10. All right. The fish are nice. Fish shell. I know, I took it over. Nice. Good to see you. You randomly got a hard name to read. ZK Zip. I really like to make all those names the same color. But it's going to take me a while. 1210. Vim all the way, of course. Emacs is for people who want to use one computer to edit. VI is for people who want to use every computer they might be on. Alright, let's do a little bit of editing and some get going with this. So I actually am going to show you how to create an account. It's actually really easy. And I'm not going to go into how to use DigitalOcean and everything. I use them from everything from networking. Minecraft is actually a really good project for this because it has a special thing called an SVR record, which will allow you to associate a subdomain with a particular port. So you can have multiple Minecraft servers running on the same server if you want. And I used to do that for lots of people, so they could all have their own whatever subdomain. So we click on droplets here. You can see I already made one a while back. And this is the, zoom in. This is the target profile that we'll be creating today. And there's the IP address. Again, this IP address isn't doxing anything. This is a system that's designed to be contacted from the internet. So this IP address is fine for me to show you. And so step one is make a droplet. And, well, actually that's not step one. Step one is make sure you have keys. So I've had keys for a very long time, but let's back up a bit and go through that process of making keys. And I've done the process already on the other stream, so you can go look it up actually. And the it's documented very well here. Hi Bakari, bonjour. So slash what did I call it? I think I called it SSH keys. I don't know. Let me check and see if that's there. Yep, that's it. So create secure shell keys with SSH keygen. This is a write-up of how to do this in the most modern way possible. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. But once you have keys set up, then you can create the DigitalOcean account, which is fine, and create a droplet, which I'm going to do. The reason you have to have the keys first is going to ask you. It's going to ask you for a public key. Oh, nice, guys. And so you're going to log in remotely. So let's do that. So now we're going to go ahead and create the droplet. So here's the droplet, and this is how. I mean, this still blows me away how easy this is. Create a cloud server, create a Kubernetes cluster, add storage to droplets, increase droplet security. Wow, look at all those things we can do. Truth is, I just want a droplet. So we're going to create a cloud server, which I think is a droplet. I actually don't remember this part. Don't remember there being so many options. I remember just saying make a droplet. Yep, there it is. So it must be its create server. This interface, again, if you've used Amazon, you know how good this is. I do think it's interesting that they added FreeBSD. I think we're going to see that a lot more as the whole Internet of Things and embedded goes forward, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pick BSD for embedded over Linux because of GPL v3. So that's going to be some really interesting stuff. We talked about, we had Distro War yesterday, and we talked about the impact of GPL v3 on open source software. Because it requires you to allow people to change their devices, even though they might have a lapel pin that they can't provide access to, so it can't be released under GPL v3, which So the FSF has inadvertently shot themselves in the foot in terms of licensing, which just means we're going to see a lot more BSD, which is why I'm interested to see that they have BSD listed here as opposed to Ubuntu. Now, don't worry, a lot of your knowledge from Linux is going to translate over to BSD if that becomes true. There's probably also going to be a lot of Ubuntu and other, not Ubuntu, but a lot of other Linux distros, perhaps Debian based, which are free of GPL v3. And I predict that's going to happen over the next 2 to 5 years. You're going to start to see distros that don't have any GNU software in them because of the GPL v3. Anyway, so so what are we going to do? We're going to do Ubuntu as a standard. You could use Debian if you wanted to. That's fine. Debian server. In fact, why don't I try Debian just for fun today? Versus Ubuntu. This is pretty much the standard one. Well, I don't want to have anybody surprises today. I'll do that on my own time. Because I know Ubuntu works. I already did through it. Which release do I want? So LTS is long time support. That means that for 5 years they'll support it. It'll be around. It'll be continually be patched. But you have to still do your own patching. Don't misunderstand. And then so this is the latest, the 20.04 LTS. So we'll go ahead and use that one because I know that one works. And that's the latest kernel and everything. Standard plan, general purpose. These are new things. You can actually have it so it gives you your own CPU. We haven't done any talk about what a CPU is versus memory versus storage. And I'm kind of assuming you know what that is. I realize. But that's what we're talking about here. So how much storage, how much brain CPU power, and how much RAM and how much bandwidth. So all the bandwidth is, the rate's the same, but the amount that they charge you for how much you get transferred is what they're going to talk to you about. So, and they always try to give you the $40 a month one. Please be careful here. I mean, you can really rack up a big bill for doing nothing if you're not careful. So just, go back over here. I'm going to pick the $5 a month one if you want. It turns out that this will actually work for Paper MC because they pre-compile it, but I'm going to go ahead and just be safe and do this to run Minecraft. It takes at least 2 gig of RAM, really seriously, if you want to have more than like 3 people on it. Minecraft, by the way, is bound by bandwidth more than anything else. You would need the RAM, however, if you were going to do Spigot and you were going to build. We know for a fact because we tried it on the $5 one and it wouldn't compile because they didn't have enough RAM to do the compilation of Minecraft. Paper Minecraft, Paper MC, by the way, does not require you to compile it, and we still don't know legally how they're getting away with that. But you just download the thing and run it, which also makes it faster. So we should be good to go today. 2 gigabytes of RAM, 1 CPU. 50 gigabytes of SSD disk. That's solid state disk drive. It's basically like a big hard drive made out of thumb drives. That's a real oversimplification, but that's what we're talking about. It makes it really fast. DigitalOcean's biggest value proposition when they started was that everything was SSD, which means that the speed of the disks is the fastest possible rate you can get. So if you have a lot of disk operations, that won't slow you down. 2 terabytes of transfer. That's way more than we'll ever need. That's how much total stuff is getting transferred. Minecraft has a pretty is pretty chatty. It's a pretty fat network requirement. I haven't ever actually metered it myself or watched it, but I've read over and over again that the limiting factor to the number of people on a Minecraft server is not RAM, but it's generally bandwidth. So somebody might have a different opinion on that in the chat. I can't see right now. So we're not going to add any other storage. If you wanted to add storage, you could add an extra. It's like plugging a hard drive into your system that you can then use on another system. So let's say you wanted to throw away your system and then not throw away all the stuff on it. You could fire up another droplet, another server, and then attach it to your volume. So that's what's going on with that. You can pick where you want to run it, which is interesting. They didn't have all these options before. I'm going to do option number 3 in New York today. Private networking. This is pretty cool stuff too. This is relatively new. You can basically set up a VPN into your stuff. So we're not going to have a private IP. So this is what I was talking about. You could make this entire droplet, this entire server completely invisible to the internet. And make it so that only you can only get to it through a VPN. So if you wanted to set up your own, internal infrastructure over a VPN, you can do it entirely on DigitalOcean or Amazon or any of these hosting providers without having, a single computer on site. So that if you don't know what a VPN, and we talked about that a couple days ago, if not yesterday, no, 3 days ago, Friday. And then, but I mean, this is how, Hack the Box and TryHackMe and stuff like that. This is what they do is they set up a VPN. You make an access into their VPN, and then you can do whatever you want on their network. It's as if you connected into their business and we're using their private network from a computer sitting, at a desk in their business place. That's what a virtual private network is. And we're not going to turn on V6 or any of these other stuff. I'm actually going to go ahead and use one of the SSH keys that I already have. But at this time, this is where you need to add in a key. So you click on new SSH key. I might as well do it since I know it. So I'm going to go back. We did this another day, so it's nothing new. And I'm going to cat home.ssh id underscore dot pub. Don't forget .pub. Cat.pub. And then I can triple click this 1, 2, 3 and go back over here and middle click to paste. And I can give it a name. I guess I can say RWX. Usually it will do it for you, but not in this case. And that adds this key is now authorized to connect. Okay, so when you do that, your computer who has that key is going to make the connection. We didn't get into a lot of the SSH stuff in the first week. But I did show you how to make keys in order to use GitLab and GitHub. So go back and watch those if you don't know what's going on there. SSH is a really, really core tool that you are required to understand. So please make very sure you understand how it works and what it's for. One-time password is a bad idea. Don't do it. In fact, I'm really glad that they... Can you shut the door? So I'm really glad that they went ahead and got rid of SSH default password login. So you have to have a key these days by default. We're going to change the name here. I'm just going to call it, I don't know, how about bBoost? bBoost. I don't want that big ugly name to show up. That will show up in your command line prompt every time, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. You can use tags here. So this is in case you have like hundreds of droplets, people do, and you want to be able to find your droplets really quickly. Assign droplets to a project, yes, to my project. Enable backups, no. Backups are a little expensive, and I wouldn't just setting up your own backup system using rsync from a machine in your house or something is generally more cost effective and more fun to set up if you're just learning. Otherwise, you click on a thing and you get backups. So use this as an opportunity to learn about how to make a backup process that will work anywhere using rsync or SSH. Create droplets. I'm going to go ahead and create this. Watch out. 1, 2, what's that? 2 seconds? 3, 4, 5. Is it up already? 6, 7, 13, 14, 15. It's usually under 30 seconds. There you go. Boom. Isn't that cool? I mean, it still amazes to me how fast you can get a computer set up. I mean, to me, that's just... Wait, why is it 8 gigabytes? I must not have saved it. I screwed up, so I'm going to delete it and do it again. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and destroy this one. Make sure it's the right one. Because there's no coming back. Droplet has been created and destroyed. Yes, destroy this droplet. I do not know why it went so high there. Yes, confirm. It's like everything is so easy to do, so I have to be really careful because I don't want to screw stuff up. I'm going to go add another one. Create a new cloud server. Somehow I didn't notice the RAM. You guys are probably laughing. You're like, oh man, you've screwed up your RAM. All right, so let's do it again. 20 standard. Oh, did I not click it? I guess you're right. I didn't click it. That was bad. I didn't click it. All right, that's what happened. So I click on New York. Oh, fine. We'll go with 1. None of that. We already gave it a new key because it added a key to my overall profile, so I don't need to do that again. There it is. I just want 1 droplet. You can actually have lots of droplets, but I only want the 1. bBoost because I deleted the other one. it doesn't create any kind of DNS names or anything like that for you by default. So just so you know, you have to set all that up if you want to. You must first select one key. Okay, I forgot to click on a key. There you go. There we go. Wait. Enable backups. No. Let me make sure everything's right. Create droplet. Okay, hopefully this one will be okay. 2 gigabytes, 50 gig of space. Same as this one. Good. All right. So, well, it's a good thing I didn't get that wrong. With like real hardware, I would have had to like redo the whole thing and rip out the RAM and put in new RAM. It still blows me away. Hey, look, I have a 134 address now. Awesome. Let's test it. So we'll go back to the command line. And what am I going to do? Click the checkbox, Rob. Lol. Yeah. So here we go. We're going to do, I can't see, so let me change my opacity back a little bit. 6 or something. Well, that didn't help. How about that? That's too much. Just right. There we go. It's going to be Docker deploys. I don't know, but I do know that you can now upload VMs to it. So that's a thing that I've been wanting forever. I've been wanting to be able to download my VM images. We'll talk about that tomorrow when we do virtual machines. So what do we got here? So I'm trying to connect to the system. So let's go to the IP address. First of all, let's just do a ping and see if it's even on the network. Okay. So use some of these tools that we practiced. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this IP and paste it to the screen here. And we see it's up and running. It's got a 41 millisecond ping, which isn't too bad. If it were here on site inside of my house, it would be like 0.1 or something. That's not too bad though, considering pinging Google DNS 8.8.8. This is Google's DNS server. Is 25. So that's, it's pretty good performance. And so, yep, it's alive. Let's go ahead and connect to it. So, by the way, if this is a way to do everything that we're doing, without necessarily installing Linux on your own computer, because everything we're going to do is going to be terminal based, at least for the extent of the boost. The other cool thing about that is that you could connect from any computer anywhere. So if your situation is, I want to be able to connect from any computer anywhere, and I carry my keys around on a USB stick, you could do everything and connect into a centralized server and be kind of like, like Mr. Robot or something, where, he just has a server out there someplace. Yeah, right. We're not going to ping localhost. So I'm going to SSH. It tells me, hey, be careful. Are you sure this is who you think it is? It's the fingerprint I'm going to provide for it. You say yes if there's a reasonable expectation that is the computer you know about and you're not being man-in-the-middle attacked. Almost always that's yes, but just be aware. So ping is so bad. That's too bad they don't have Australia yet. So here we go. So I went ahead and too many authentication failures. Uh-oh. Receive disconnect. What is going on? Oh, because I'm trying to connect. Okay, so guys, I made a mistake. Learn from my mistake. Anybody know what my mistake was? I tried to connect, but what did I try to do? SSH. Forgot root. Yep. So when you don't provide a user to SSH, it uses whatever the current user is. So it tried to connect as RWX Rob to the remote system and failed. And yes, the guys, both Og and Blackbeard, are right. You can either do standard way, or you can use Mr. Robot way. Mr. Robot uses -shell all the time for his connections like this. I don't know why. In case you're wondering, this is where email came from. This syntax. So we're going to do user at IP. We're going to connect in, and now I'm on there. Now there's no fancy colors or anything. And this isn't free. This is, if you do this, it's going to cost you $10 a month. But as I said, you can do it and then delete it tomorrow and maybe only pay $1. Okay. So this is a good way for you to practice using the server. You're going to have to learn how to use cloud if you're going to do any of this stuff as a technologist. So I would at least try and make sure you can do it. I should probably do it X forward. I don't know. We're not going to do that right now. That's a fancy cool thing you can do, but we're not going to do that. He's talking about X forwarding, which is a way for you to run graphic applications from a remote system using X forwarding over SSH, which is built into SSH. But that's like not a beginner topic. Please keep us with the beginner topics. Okay, so what do we have over here? We have a server that we just connected to, and you can LS. You can see there's nothing here. The colors also really stink because I'm on a remote system. So I'm actually going to do some minimal configuration to the system so I can see what's going on. And so let's type exit here. And then we're going to go ahead and SSH in. I'm going to go copy my bash RC over because I want to see the colors. It's driving me crazy. The typing is very slow. That's because you're far away. Yeah, sorry about that. So scb_bash_rc, and now I want to copy my bash RC to root at this thing here, and then don't forget the colon. What happens if you forget the colon, people? Anybody ever done this? Anybody ever tried to SCP a file over to another system and forgot the colon? What will it do? It'll happily do something like, wait a second, my stuff's not there. You know why? What did it just do? It copied it to a file with that name. You have to have the colon in SCP or you'll get this random thing. Yeah, and it seems like everyone in the world has done this at least once. You know? So here we go. All right, so we go ahead and do, where's my SCP? There we go. And then we do colon there. And if you put the colon, it'll go ahead and it'll connect up. It copies my bash RC. What else do I want? I don't want tmux because I don't need it. I'm going to add my vimrc though. I'm going to add that. And what else do I want? I'm going to add my dir colors. I want my dir colors. And that's pretty much all I need to move over there. Wait, what are we talking about? Oh, it's dir colors. So this is another reason to keep your configuration small and simple, because you can configure a remote system pretty quickly doing this. It's also a reason not to use Emacs, because I would still be configuring Emacs if I was doing that. SCP is really the way to go there. So now let's go over to the system and see what happens when I log in this time. So, and by the way, I don't want to type that all the time. So, look at my colors now, guys. I have red. It says red. It's like danger, Will Robinson. You are root, right? And I can type ls, and I have my pretty colors. All I had to do was copy 3 files over: dir colors, my vimrc, and bashrc. That's it. Okay. So, and now I'm going to go back, and there's one last thing I want to do over here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, wow, what's this 404th? Oh, no, that's one I meant to do. Whoopsie. I don't know about this one, though. Got to get rid of that guy. I got some extra junk in here. Junk in the trunk. Lost in space. All right, so don't worry about the specifics ever again. Yeah. Public FTP, so you never have to worry about public FTP. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I don't want to have to remember the IP every time. Okay, so I'm on my home system. I'm going to go into my home directory. Here I am, and now I'm going to edit my, yes, all my dot files are on GitHub. If you well, yeah, it's just RWX Rob share config. So there's my config. Make your own though. Don't use my Git files. Hey, you write your own dot files. Make it. I just did a whole thing about this 2 days ago. Actually, last week. Go back and watch the thing about making your own configuration repo. Last week. We did that all last week. Do that and then copy and paste the individual pieces of it. Take pieces from my config and put them into your config. Okay? Don't just copy my config straight up. Sometimes that, like dir colors, maybe. tmux, maybe. Right? vimrc, maybe. But when you're making your own bash configuration, maybe, give that some thought. Okay? Anyway. So what are we talking about here? So now I'm going to make it so that I have my IP is included. So .ssh config. So again, I'm using VI to edit my local .ssh config because I don't want to have to type it every time. And so you do this host, and we'll call this bboost. Okay, this is not adding the KDE. I don't remember. He uses Mint for sure though. bboost. Oh no, what am I talking about? Oh. So we have to change this. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, I forgot to tell you, first thing we need to do is create an account over there. All right. So host username, let's go ahead and put the username, the IP in though. So we're going to put the IP in here. For right now, we'll keep it as root. We're going to change that though. And we're going to use as the identity file, we're going to point it to the ID, the key that we've been creating. Okay. So, no, he says, so I see you're running the GNOME desktop. That's like, I'm a KDE person myself, you know, old habits. Or did he say he was using the GNOME desktop? Oh, that was in the first episode. I think it was. I see you're using KDE. You know what? He was using KDE at his place of work. It's part of his persona. Or is it GNOME? See, you're running GNOME. It's Tyrell. Yeah, Tyrell Willick. Yeah, I've got a show way too memorized. Particularly the first one. It was GNOME, right? Yeah, they say this desktop environment's better, but you know, old habits. Which is funny because GNOME is actually older than KDE. I don't know where that came from. So, all right. So you got your SSH config edited, right, people? So now, yeah, which makes sense. Kindergarten desktop. All right. So let's do this. SSH. Never use Hasher. SSH into bboost now, and I should be able to have a connection to bboost. There's my bboost connection. All right, so as you can see, there you go. I'm root now. I am Groot. The reason that I am Groot is because that's what you have to attach at first of all. So the first thing you need to do is you need to create. Okay, the first thing on any cloud service you should, or any Linux system is that you, it's the first. Suckerman RTX. Okay, Suzanne Vega, yes. So, yeah, so. I'm logging in here, and then what? You know, I don't want to do anything else as root. Why not? Because doing things as root is extremely dangerous. If I make any mistake at all, and you will, I promise you, you will. You're like, it forces you to log in as root, but it doesn't let you do remote. Okay. So let's just confirm this right now. Etsy, in case you're wondering, SSHD config, and we can go. Oh right, see, this is my vimrc. My vimrc automatically detects if I don't have my plugins installed and installs them for me. I'm so proud of that. It's not original, but I'm super proud of that. My vimrc automatically detects my plugins aren't there and installs them. So stinking cool. Yeah. So password. And so there's the password authentication. Know that you want, and it's like, oh man, okay. So no password authentication. So that's actually a good thing. You really want that. And so yeah, there you go. I can go ahead and clear this out, and you can see everything that's going on. You see we're root. Okay, so the first thing you should do is add a user, and I wasn't planning on covering this, so I'm going to cover this quickly. I do believe we cover it later on when we're reading the Linux book, but we're going to do add user. And I need to give it a name, of course. Set-io VI. Why is my VI not working? What is going on with that? I think my set-io VI is on here. I gotta go set that. Okay, anyway. So yeah, don't use user add, use add user. And I'm not going to get into the weeds on why that is. Add user is a Perl script that is much easier to use than user add. If you do user add, you have to do all the individual commands yourself. Eventually, you want to do that. Eventually, you probably want to understand what user add is doing. But remember, the verb comes first. If you use the one with the verb that comes first, you just have to provide a name. I'm going to call this one MC. and I put enter, and it goes ahead and it asks me for a password. This password is never used except for on this system, so it doesn't have to be that secure. Because I'm going to be using keys for everything. All right, so again, that password does not, I just put enters for all this stuff. So that creates the home directory and everything you would expect to do. User add does not do that. You have to individually do all of those things, which is fine. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to give the MC account root access in order to start up and different things, install software and that kind of thing. And to do that, we're going to edit. And now this is, I'm going to get flack for doing this. There is a user add command for this, but I'm actually, I don't know if I should do this on here because you guys are going to all roast me for doing it. Okay. So the way that I add new users to the via I do via Etsy group. And this is not, unless you know what you're doing, you screw this thing up, you can't log in anymore. So we're going to go through the sudo. Here we go. I'm going to add MC. We're not editing SC Shadow. No, we're not doing that. We're going to add MC to the sudo thing. I know this is supposed to be a beginner boost. I get it. Look, I'm just trying to emphasize that this is where you can add your settings for this. So now we have an account. So I'm going to go ahead and exit here. And now I should be able, let's go change my SSH config to, instead of being root, to be MC. And now we're going to SSH into, you guys can pause the video if it's too much. We're going to set into vBoost, and it will log in as MC instead, unless it doesn't. Oh, because I don't have keys. Whoopsie. Let me go back. So what happened? I forgot to tell it about my keys. Add user. So let's go back to there. I forgot one other thing. This is very unscripted. But I need to go over and log in as that user. So we're doing a lot of commands that are going to be covered in the book as we go through it next week, for the 2 weeks, next week. But su- turns into that user as a login user. You can add this to your notes and see how it says MC at vBoost now. Well, that's all well and good, but I need to tell this account that it's okay to connect to it. And to do that, I need to put a file. I remember that public key. So we need to put a file in here, and in a new window, I need to go get that key. So I'm going to cat .ssh id. Remember the ed250i19.pub, and I could have just catted that to xclip and been fancier, but I'm just going to cut and paste it like this. And I'm going to come back over here and insert it and paste it. And then I'm going to close it. Can't open file for writing. You know why? Because I didn't follow my touch principle. This is a good example for why you should use touch first. Because if I had done touch.ssh authorized keys, if I didn't know it worked or not, it would see that it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is there's no SSH directory. So there's a lot of things I can do here, that all of which are going to confuse you. So I'm just going to go for it. So we're going to make a directory called SSH. We're going to turn off all of its permissions so that it's just readable by me. And whoops, what happened there? Set that show VI. Oh, whoopsie. Move as thanks guys. SSH.ssh. This is so much fun having all these backseat drivers. But I need you. So you have to lock down the permissions on that. And oh great. And touch dot, no way. And then we're gonna go ahead and now do that VI again. Authorized keys, make sure you get the spelling right, and then insert. I'm going to paste this key in here. And so now if I go back, and I'll even stay on this system from another system, I just did Control AA to shift Windows, and now I'm going to SSH into MC at vBoost. So if I want to have it, I can do that. And now I'm on. Now I'm on as vBoost. Okay. So having confirmed that, now I can connect over here, disconnect from root, and then I can edit my config. And we have to go fast because we're going to run out of time. There's lots to do. And what am I doing? .ssh. No. Oh, config. Yeah. SSH config. and we're going to change we don't want to connect as root, we want to connect as the user MC by default. So now anytime I SSH, no time runouts ever. so we're going to go to SSH, and we're going to MC to vBoost, and now I'm on the system. I can clear the screen, and you see now I'm a green account. So this account also needs some setup though. So I'm going to copy over my setup from here again. I'm going to go back into my home directory, and I'm going to SCP a number of files all at one time. So I want my bash RC over there. I want my vim RC over there. I want my .dir colors. Those are really the only ones I care about for right now. I don't need tmux because I'm running tmux locally, and that's a good idea to do that. No, we're not. Well, you could git clone, but it's my files is massive files, and those are my videos. Those are the videos that are getting saved in my home directory. Those are on my local system, and then I'm gonna move those to vBoost, and I need to put a colon. Don't forget the colon. That's gonna copy my files over to vBoost as MC, and it copies those 3 files over. So now when I reset my shell over here, you'll see I have. I always do host tilde. That's probably wise. It's the default, but yeah. Sometimes you don't need to set up a Git repo remotely, and my .files repo is massive. I use my .files repo for lots of things. Some people just download the whole thing to their home directory, and I don't think that's a good idea. But you know, it just depends on how you want to approach it. I usually only need 1 or 2 or 3 files, so I'm not a big fan of doing that. Okay, so now we have a nice happy configured shell over here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to set up the server in this directory. I'm wondering if we need to take a break here and then come back and do the installation of the paper directory, paper server itself. Where we only have like 9 minutes before the break, and I did go pretty fast here, but by the end of all of this, you should be able to connect into your system, and you know, and just do it by its name, and then we're gonna go ahead and clear the screen, and you know, there's lots of ways you can get rid of all that extra stuff, by the way. But so once you have that done, then it's going to be time to start building out stuff. I'm going to start building stuff out, and so yeah. Did anybody else have any questions before we do that? I know they did that pretty fast. Had a lovely meme. Oh wow. Got to edit that pam.conf. Do you think we do need to edit pam.conf? I mean, that's a pretty advanced thing to do, but I don't know if I would want to do that on stream right now with everybody here. So, not to mention, I probably wouldn't get it right because I'm so old school on that. So let's do a search for everybody. What is PAM? So PAM is an extra security layer that is on top of the traditional security for Unix and Linux. And it's also a pain in the butt. So, yeah, let's see, information time. Multiple things on one server. Do you break it down by which port it runs on? Yes. I'm not a fan of PAM personally, but PAM is another layer of security you can add. If you're going to do anything, Microsoft Subsystem or Cygwin, WSL all the way. WSL 1 is passable until 2 comes out, which should be any day now. So really, they keep postponing it, but any day the next Windows that comes out will have WSL 2, Windows Subsystem for Linux, built into it. And at that point, there's really no reason to ever use anything else. And it's good. It's fast. I've had a lot of people report on the stream how fast it is. When it comes to Windows, I would definitely, we talked about it yesterday, but that is definitely my standard recommendation for people on Windows who don't want to take Linux. It's going to be interesting to see how much. You mean LS doesn't take 2 minutes? Yeah, exactly. What are alts to PAM? I don't know of any, to tell you the truth. you're on WSL2 right now and it's so fast. It's because they removed the emulation layers entirely. It's a straight up kernel and it's running straight on the hypervisor. So it should be really, really, really fast. I haven't been able to poke peek at it, but I can't recommend anything else. It even has X support apparently. Sicko, have you gotten the X support to work on that? X support is the graphics support. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really interesting because the level of Linux support that's built into Windows now, it is not. No, God, no. You can't. Windows subsystem for Linux has to be run on the new version of Windows. That is it's the biggest requirement. The way they're able to get away with the speed is because they have the two kernels running next to each other. Yeah, it's yeah. Hey, look at me. Okay, I have 5 minutes. I'm kind of in between here. So let's actually go get ready to show what you're going to be doing next. In fact, when we start the download, it might take a little while. So the next thing we're going to be doing, so you notice I'm on bBoost here. I'm on a different system. Please make note of what system you're on. I've told the story before, but I have shut down the corporate mail server thinking I was turning my laptop off for the day. Don't do me. Don't be me. Don't do that. Make sure that you know what you're on and pay attention to your prompt. And this is also why you see me I've changed up my prompt a little bit. I also went back to a standard prompt because I didn't want to confuse you guys. You can get really fancy with your prompt, and frankly, there's no need. Just keep it what it is for now. Dependency on Hyper-V components that don't play with VBox. Well, yep. I don't know. We're gonna see. I mean, it's definitely going to be the Windows standard though. So anyway, we're going to get a thing called PaperMC. Make sure you get the right one. It's papermc.io. This is the replacement to the old one, Spigot MC. I never thought I would say Spigot MC was old, but it is. So if you know anything about Minecraft, Spigot MC is kind of now the old one. And of course, some people prefer vanilla. That's fine. But if you want plugins like Essentials and World Edit, you can't do that with vanilla. And so you want to get this. Now, here's what's crazy. So we're going to click on the download links here. And we have, let's see, you can download the latest version or waterfall below. So Paper 1.15.2, and I'm going to right click on it. Wait, what did it do? Oh, here it is. Build. Let's see, updated upstream. I guess this must be the one 5.12. Wow. So there we go. It's this one right here. Here's the download link. So copy the download link. We're going to do copy link address, and we're going to go to the server. And then, yeah, it's Bucket is old and busted. Don't use Bucket. Bucket, the whole team left Bucket. Bucket has been taken over by Spigot. There are still a few Bucket plugins on there. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and download this from the command line using curl. You may have used wget. I use curl-L, which says follow redirects. And I'm going to do dash O because I want to name it paper.mc. And then I'm going to give the URL. So here we go. Yeah, read the Bucket story. It's crazy. I lived through that. It was insane. So curl space -L -O says make it this. If you use capital O, by the way, we'll use the name of the URL, but I don't want my file to be called download, so that's why I have -O there. Yes, you could do Docker run MC server. I seriously don't recommend doing that, but you can do that if you want. A lot of people like the running Docker from a server. I'm not that guy. Same Bucket from Audio Minecraft. Yeah. So Spigot, and then Bucket is a complicated story to get into right now. So we have a PaperMC file. We can see what kind of file it is to make sure it's the right kind of file. It's a zip archive, which is what Java jar files really are. We're going to need to put Java on here when we try to do java-jar paper. And yes, I know about the other switches, but we're not doing those right now. Let's see. Yeah, so then we're doing this. Do sure Twitch records. You're talking about no, I don't. You want to do it for me? Do you have any idea how hard it takes to do that? how much time it takes. Okay, so we're going to go back here, and then we're going to do, since we don't have Java, we're going to go ahead and install Java. It turns out that JDK 11 does not work. Actually, it does work. I take that back. I tried to do it the other night, and then I ended up trying to build because I didn't trust Paper. And that's when I needed to get it to JDK. You're probably fine just doing a sudo apt install default JRE. It's 1.8 is required. And so default -JRE. And I'm going to go ahead and type in my password. Okay. And then it says, do you want to install all these things? I say yes. And it's going to put all those on there. Yeah, so the default JRE is fine on here. It is a problem if you're going to build, though. So I found this problem out. I tried to build from source, and I had to make sure that the JDK was installed, not the JRE, but of course. But I believe you have to have the version 8 of the JDK. I can't remember that part specifically, though. So if you want to build from source, the really crazy thing about Paper is that you don't have to run build tools like you did with Spigot. You don't have to actually build anything. You can actually go right ahead and run it. Oh, I'm supposed to take a break. Yes. To success or failure. Yes. Okay. Well, we'll see about that. When we come back, we'll go ahead and fire it up and try to install some plugins. This is designed to just be a really fast overview. So I'll be back in 15 minutes. So stay there. Yeah, if you click on RWX, I guess we could put that in the profile thing down below. All right, what do we got going on here? We're on the system. We have a working... You read the bucket story? Yeah, it's pretty sad. We're not going to go into that right now. It's way too much of a story. There was massive drama in the Bucket community when they collapsed right around the time that Microsoft bought Minecraft, and somebody sued. The Microsoft and everybody else for using their contribution. It's a big long story. And a bunch of people left the Bucket team. GitHub removed the source code. You couldn't use it. Spigot considered shutting down. A number of the other mod communities shut down. It was just a big, massive fiasco. And it was largely brought about because of, and going back to our legal conversation yesterday, it was largely brought about by Notch's kind of ambivalence about anything legally specified when he allowed people to mod Minecraft all those years. He never said you could, never said you couldn't, and so everybody just went with their best assumption. There was never any contributor agreements created of any kind because technically you weren't contributing, you're just modding kind of on your own. And all of this legal ambiguity caused this massive drama that almost killed Minecraft, frankly, when Microsoft bought it. And yeah, and actually Notch never added the EULA. That was not his thing. So, but speaking of EULAs, let's get back to the topic at hand. Hey, Haney. So we've got our Minecraft installed now. And we have Paper and I have Java now. So don't hate on me for doing this. I'm just going to do Java just jar Paper. Now, anybody who knows Java knows that that's not enough to protect your server, and that you need to put some other arguments in there. But I'm starting out simple and easy. Again, today's topic is my Linux in the cloud, and we're taking a kind of a fun, specific example of how you can set up Linux in the cloud and run it. And this is in conjunction with all the stuff we talked about last week with how to configure. And as you saw, I was able to locally configure my server over here pretty quickly by just copying a few files over. So this is kind of an object lesson for all the stuff that we talked about last week, all the push I made for, creating a simplified config and storing it in a .files repo so that, you can easily copy it around. And we're doing Minecraft because that is the end of the day activity for went ahead and set up a cloud server on DigitalOcean. Again, let me just review. We talked about multiple cloud offerings, Amazon, Azure, Google Platform, and Linode as well. And so this is just one way to set it up, and it's showing you why you would want to run Minecraft in the cloud. You maybe want to just try something else, but generally speaking, when you're doing Minecraft in the cloud, it's because you want to do something more. So in this case, you want to set up a server. I put some examples of things you might want to do with a cloud server here. Run your own Agario clone, a Doom server, run your own WebSockets API, run your own database, any number of things that you might want to do. So we're just using Minecraft as a way to play around with that. And we got the Paper MC, which I downloaded using the curl command. So here's the curl command. The -L says follow any redirection. That's really important. The -O says name the file paper.mc, and then I provide the URL to the Java jar file. And if you're not familiar with Java, jar files are zip files. In fact, if you do file paper, you'll see it's a zip file, which are basically all the pieces inside of. You can actually unzip the things. And I'll try. Watch this. Zip on here. Paper.mc. Oh, I have to, well, whatever, let's just do this. I mean, this is kind of fun. It's a Java thing, so nobody really cares, but this is one of the reasons we're not actually running the jar file. It's one of Java's dirty little secrets. Oh, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Oh, wait, never mind. What am I talking about? It should put this into a separate directory. That's why I'm trying to figure it out. What am I doing? I'm not going to do it. Don't do that. If you want to do it on your own. If you just want to experiment with the file, it's just going to mess up the directory. I don't want to do it. So just know that that's what it is. In order to run it though, is java.jar. The name comes from tar, but that's not at all what it is. Paper.mc, this should actually download vanilla jar. I think it's pretty fascinating that it patches the vanilla jar file so quickly to give you the result that you want. This is quite a bit different than Spigot in the old days. Not even really, like last week. Filter properties file. Okay, so this is where you have to edit a file. These commands that I'm using and stuff are mostly, it's running right now, it's running VI, it's downloading all my plugins by default. My vimrc is set up to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that and then change the EULA from false to true. If you know anything about Minecraft, you know what that's about. That's because you're taking on the risk of using something that, technically speaking, is their property, even though everybody all over the world has been doing this for more than a decade. So nothing illegal going on here. Paper.mc. Wait. Oh, no wonder. I feel really stupid that I named it paper.mc. It should be named paper.char, of course. So that makes it much better. Java-jar. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. And then we're going to do paper.jar, and that should actually run a server. And you can go ahead and connect to the server and do some things there. Now, I'm just going to quickly connect to this server and stop the server, so it's using survival mode by default. And anybody out there, you're welcome to join on the server. It's completely public. So if I do Minecraft, run my Minecraft launcher, and let me look up the IP number again. So what was the IP? You have to know the IP. So the IP is this. I guess I'll give that to you guys. There's the IP. If you want to come join me, if you happen to be no reason not to. Just gonna fire up Minecraft, and we can go ahead and test our server. And then we're not going to spend a lot of time playing around in Minecraft. It would be fun, but I want to show you how to install a plugin. So here, there's Grayson's server. I'm going to add a new server, add server, and put the IP address in here, which I probably am going to have to type in, tell you the truth. I think Minecraft does cut and paste very well. 134.122.21.91. Click on done, and eventually it should wake up. Is it not waking up? Refresh. Yep, there it is. So connect for the first time. Actually, before I make a connection, I'm going to go ahead and opt myself. I know that sounds weird, but op RW X ROB. Okay. Looks like somebody already beat me in there. It's kind of loud. It's definitely loud. I gotta turn the sound of it down. Oh my gosh, the good old Minecraft music is blowing my ears out. Options, music and sound, master volume. Turn the master volume down. And I can go ahead and actually just turn this off for a bit. Minecraft multiplayer. Must be this one. Somebody's on there already. Huzzah! I've got my thing set up for. Wow, this is a nice. Hey, David. Let's see. I'm not going to full screen this, but I wonder how good we can do. Back to game. Yay! So, if you know Minecraft, I don't need to tell you anything more about it. Did I get wood? Oh no. Yes, good. I've unlocked recipes, people. Yay. No, I don't want buttons. What are you talking about? I want... Okay. I'm obviously not going to spend a ton of time here. Hello. So, but this is really fun. It's a super fun thing to do, and it's a great way to learn system administration because you have to maintain your things, you know, as you build them. Hey, Zero Theory's in. All right. I kind of want more music now. All right, I'm gonna get some more wood. We need to survive. We're in survival mode, people. What are we gonna do here? Somebody else come and join. All right. Now we need to like open up a Discord voice chat. Should I go do that? Should I go open up? I wonder if it would do it. It's a little bit of a test here to see if it'll work. This is a little testing. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go. So we're going to be live on stream. So if you want to join us to chat, you can come to the live room. Your voice will be live, just so you know. Hello world. Yep. So there we go. Oh, I need to make something though more interesting. Super divisor. All right. So, I mean, this is all fun, well and good. Should we actually install Essentials on here and see how that goes? I haven't installed Essentials on paper yet. Could try. Man, this is a kind of a fun initial start point. I've never started in a forest before. Uh-oh, someone's getting hurt. Save them. Oh no, you're drowning, David. Don't drown. I can't see any of the chat. I should probably minimize this. Wait. Back to him. Where are you, chat? Where are you, chat? There you are. This is... So I changed it from science to tech back to Minecraft. Yes. All right, let's start building a CPU, Kappa. 4 hours later. So yeah. Viewer count stonks. I don't know if he asked the chat, but no answer. Maybe it can help. So I changed the themes of my terminal settings. I'm trying to read and not drowned. Why can I not get out of here? I'm such a noob again. I think we're all stuck here. Why can I not get out of the water, people? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die and drop all my stuff. I feel so bad. Redstone ALU. Redstone rocks. I'm come and find you playing games. 64 for schoolwork, and I come and find you playing games. Exactly. Yeah. Yo, hey, there's some people. Someone show me how to get out of here. Throw me a line so I don't die. Or I could just do this. GMC. Oh, wait, we don't have essentials. Game mode C. Game mode. I'm cheating. Hey, look, now I can like do everything. All right, so obviously we need, I don't know if you want to do plugins. We do have a little bit of time today. I made a little bit of extra time just so that we could talk about different things you could build on here. You can put a web server on here pretty easily. I mean, we could just install Nginx and put a server. Should we do that? So while we still have this running, you could even put a web server on here. So I'm just trying to go through the things. What is going on in here? Obviously, we're just playing Minecraft. Minecraft. I want my Minecraft. All right, so we're talking about Linux on a server and why you might do it. Here's one fun reason to do it. By the way, this costs you $10 a month. So you can either buy a server the lame way, you know, through some web interface, or you can buy it like this and install your own and put all kinds of fun things on here, right? So let's actually do that. I mean, there's a couple things we could do, or we could just keep messing around on here, or we could make a server, a web server, make a computer in Minecraft and install Manjaro to delete the server. You probably could do that. Actually, if you put CompuCraft on here, you could do that, ComputerCraft. So you can do your own coding and stuff. Yeah. So we have a half an hour here. Lots of game servers run on Linux. Oh yeah. So there's another couple of servers out there. I'm showing you the game things because a lot of people might be interested in just doing games as learning activities. But the Doom server. So there's like a Doom server. I think it's GZoom. What is it called? GZoom, GZ Doom, GZ Doom. GZ Doom is a server that you can, ZDoom downloads, that you can run on Linux, and you can run your own Doom server. You can, there's an Agar.io clone, which you can run on your own server as well. We've had people run this. Agar.io, you can actually download it, if I remember where it is. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's this one. This is the actual Agar.io. No, we're not going to play Agar.io right now. But I'm just trying to tell you that these are all fun things you can do with a server that might not be. You can run, I mean, do boring things like run your own web server, which is pretty easy. But for web server sorts of things, I wouldn't do that anyway. I would do more of like an API server, like for like Poke API. If you're, I know this is young people, Poke API .co is a Pokemon API that uses, it's a RESTful Poke API. There's no GraphQL, but this is a good way to learn about how stuff works. And this is the kind of server you could run. You can run a database on your own server and install stuff like that. Those are all reasons for you to run your own server. Another one is just to have a system to log into from anywhere, right? So that doesn't really follow very well though, because usually you have to have your keys to do that. So that means you would want to be carrying your laptop around with you and just allow only your laptop to make a connection. So that's what you would do there. And I guess I overestimated how much time it was going to take to set this up. You're talking about the server? Yeah, it's 134.122.21.91. Valve source dedicated is for Debian. Is it really? Didn't know about that. Linuxisms for my game servers. I don't know that. I don't know about that for game servers. Yeah, but we're definitely on DigitalOcean here. So that's really the moral of the story today, is that you can fire up your own server on there and have some fun. And let me tell you, administering this server is a chore. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So, oh, by the way, remember tmux and screen? I'm going to have an object lesson here that's going to annoy people, but watch what happens when I disconnect. So I'm going to disconnect, right? So I'm going to kill this terminal. What just happened? Where'd the server go? Gone, right? You remember all that conversation we had last week about using screen for stuff? This is where it starts to matter. So in order for me to fix this, sorry about that, guys, but so watch this. Now I'm going to have to start another Alacritty, because if you don't, I'm going to be running a screen within a screen within a screen, or tmux within a tmux within a tmux, and it gets really hard. So you fire up a new terminal, all right? Now it's ugly, but deal with it. And now I'm going to connect from this terminal to the Minecraft server. Okay, this terminal is not running under tmux, and I'm going to connect to Bboost. All right, so yet again, this is another reason to use a terminal multiplexer like screen or tmux, and in this case, I'm going to use screen because I want to make a point here. So first of all, let's see if screen is here. So screen is here by default. Let's see if tmux is. Yep, good. It didn't used to be that way. So you have the option. You can run tmux here if you wish, or you can run screen. And in this case, I'm going to use screen because screen is on everything. I don't need to configure tmux. I don't even need to configure screen. Because why? Because my tmux is configured to act like screen. So I'm going to type screen, enter, and it's this really old screen. I mean, look at how old it is. It goes back to 1987. So I'm going to take that off. And it's got this ugly terminal colors, because why? Because screen doesn't do really pretty terminal color. So anyway, the main point of this is that now when I create my, well, you know what, let's use tmux because I want my colors. So tmux apparently is on there by default. So if you have tmux, go ahead and do it. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and copy my tmux file over here now too, because I initially I didn't, but I'm going to do that now. It's because now I have a good reason to. So let's do that. So go back into the home directory, scp.tmux.conf, and I want to put that into non-interactive login shells. Yes. So sometimes when a program starts up, it's a non-interactive shell, and so it doesn't need everything in your interactive configuration. And if I remember right, that's when things like profile are not run. BashRC always runs. So I'm going to go ahead and copy my tmux over to here. I was not going to do that before, but now I'm going to, because it has tmux on there, so I might as well have it. So that makes a total of 4 configuration files I copied over. I copied over my BashRC, which you could easily have just copied over as bash aliases and done that instead. I copied over my dir colors, which gives me all my colors that work on the stream. I copied over my vimrc, so my VI works the way I expect it to. And now I've copied over my tmux.conf. So that's really it for this remote system. I don't really need much more than that to be comfortable in this environment. So I'm going to go back to my Alacritty terminal, and now when I SSH into bboost, okay, so this one hasn't seen bboost yet, so let's try that. Oh wait, I'm already on bboost. Duh. All right, so now I can like type. So I'm saying, man, pay attention. I just forgot I'm on bboost. So I'm going to go ahead and start a terminal now, a tmux terminal, but this is now on the remote system, and it's very easy. Please be careful. It's very easy to start tmux from within a tmux session. You're running one locally and you're running one remotely, and it's very hard to remember the key combinations to be able to do that. That is also one of the reasons that I run my tmux configuration using Control A for the meta key, because if that ever happens to me, I know that I can use Control B, which is a default for tmux. So if I accidentally start a tmux on a remote system that I don't have configured, I can still send signals to the tmux on the remote system from my tmux on my local system. And I know that's confusing, and that's why I started up a new terminal for this kind of thing. If you want to, you can change your configurations to do that. But in my case right now, if I had started up tmux from another tmux, it would be very hard to send the signal to the remote one without knowing the extra commands to do that, which tmux has, but I don't have set up. So I'm going to go ahead and just do tmux over here, and that should just start up tmux with my configurations. And you notice this is good old tmux on a different terminal. But why? Why did I start up tmux? And here's why. So I'm going to start the server up this time. I'm doing it the cheater way. I'm not really doing it right, but I just trying to make a point. So I'm going to start up Java. There it is. It's going to start up our paper Minecraft server, and it's going to load up and everything. But let's pretend like that this terminal gets killed in the middle. All right. So what happens if this Alacritty terminal dies? It says, it says I need more RAM. With more RAM, launch it as blah 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 Java Minecraft. Yes. So this is good. It's actually kind of, but see how it's all still here. Why is that important? So if I disconnect from this terminal, which by the way you can do by default with the commands Control A D, which we don't use very much. So my configuration is meta key or Control A. The default is Control B, but I use Control A and then D for detach. And now I'm detached from this, but the server is still there. So I can go back to the server list, and there, sure enough, there it is. Somebody's still connected even. That's amazing. How'd you survive that? So this should prove and connect to the server and show that I'm actually connected. And in the meantime, come on, I know you're there. Please promise me you're there. Did I connect to the wrong one? Maybe I did. Maybe I connected to the wrong one. Did I connect to the wrong one? No, that's the right one. Refresh. It should be there. It still thinks it's down. It's not getting an answer. What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? Anyway, so if you want to reconnect, tmux A will reconnect to the existing server. Oh, there it is. Looks like it lost some things there. Yep, I lost my connections and stuff. All right, so I'm going to disconnect again. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to connect. Oh, there it is. There it showed up that time. So it must be this one. We'll go ahead and connect. And there we go. Come on, multiplayer. Loading the terrain. It doesn't seem very happy. I must need to give it more RAM next time. And there are some settings you can do to give it more RAM, but that's not the point. The point is that you can reattach to your running process and disconnect. I can even disconnect from the server entirely, and my server does not go down. So that is the second most important reason to use. Actually, it's really the most important reason to use the terminal multiplexer. Because why? Because it maintains a persistent connection for you. All right. So that persistent connection is what saves you when anything in the world disconnects you. You could have a power outage or anything like that. Your server is still running, and so let's say you're starting a really important backup process. You want to make sure you have that tmux or some sort of multiplexer running to protect you, so that you can then log in from a different machine. There's an interesting side effect of that. If two or more people connect to the system and attach at the same time, they can both share a keyboard. They are literally sharing a keyboard effectively at that point. So anything I type, they type, and that's very good for mentoring. So you can like see what each other is typing when they're doing it and helping them out. And you are very literally sharing a TTY, so you're sharing effectively the same keyboard. So those are, three reasons to use tmux. One is you get persistence for your connection. Two is you get this, window management, which you can use to advantage, like you've seen me do on the stream all the time. And three, you get concurrent access to the same TTY, the same screen, essentially. So you can have multiple people connect as long as they have access to that account. It's not uncommon to create an account and then let everybody log in as that account, and then they can all like share keystrokes, delete, and all that stuff. It's got academic application, but for pair programming, it's a good idea to do that as well. So those are all things that people have invented technologies outside in the World Wide Web to use, but they've been around since the 90s. Sharing a terminal has been around since, even before the 90s, 80s. So there's, a lot of people are just reinventing the wheel here as long as you use a terminal to begin with. Anyway, so back to my chat. And we'll see what we have going on here. So we're still here. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and read from the chat here. We finished a lot earlier than I was hoping to today. We end up, with quite a few minutes left over. Imagine having to make a key file needing. So let's see. Screen and tmux are in the same vein. So that's why I'm mentioning those. All right. So is there anything else? Let's see. Hi, Rob. I asked the chat, but no answer. Changed themes in my terminal settings before it was working when my dir colors were changed, but now all of the text is white except for the prompt. Don't know. Is it a new system you just logged into? I'd have to look at your configuration directly on that one. Fractal, if you want to, I can help you with that. Let's see. ls-l alias perhaps might be. It might be no color. So make sure you have color set. Type ls to show what your ls is actually doing. So yeah, type ls. So that's why, let's see, because you reset your aliases, right? Yep. So you might need to add that alias back to get color. I think changing the status color bar as another indicator where you are. Yeah, that might be a good idea. That is a good idea. I don't have that set because my tmux does not have a status bar on the remote system. That's a good idea though. You could almost, Zeros, that's a great idea. You could almost randomize that. You could randomize it so you have a different status bar color for every different tmux you start. That'd be cool. If you make the random numbers big enough, the range, there's like almost no chance you'd end up with the same color and 2 different status bars. That's a really great idea. That's a great idea, Zeros. Let's see, what else we got? Also, don't know if you know, but with Tmux, if you set the perms pfsocket to 77, you can have 2 different users using it in the same group. Nice, yes. That I haven't tried to do that with the sockets, but I've read about that being true. If you do it to 770, that's much easier actually to do that. That's a great tip. That's a great tip, guys. Take care. We're effectively done for today. In fact, I'm probably going to cut it early today because that is really all I had to show you. Let me see if I can find my notes. So here we are. We did the SSH. We did the paper Minecraft. I have talked about adding a plugin, but that's actually not that hard. I'm not going to include that in here. It's pretty easy. I had resetting a world, but that's really outside of the scope of this. It's not hard to do any of those things, and if you want to do those on your own and learn it, it's really fun. But this is get you a boost in running your own server, and so yeah, the file system hierarchy standard, yes, yes, you need to know about that. Dev will be green. Be off topic, but I've been meaning to ask for use for a while. There are some folders in Linux I simply don't understand, like op. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out when to cover the Linux file system hierarchy, the LFS, in our kind of outline here. It's actually covered in the book that we're going to be reading. So this is the book next week. So a lot of the stuff I haven't gone into depth on. I've just kind of given you guys a little taste of it because we're going to cover it in depth when we open up the book. So the Linux command line covers this in detail. I'm sorry for the white here. It's a little bit jarring, but so if you go down to searching for files, let's see here. Gentle introduction to the environment, modifying the environment, processes, permissions. Let's see here. Seeing the world as a shell. Where is it? Here he goes. Manipulating files and directories, exploring the system, determining files type, file contents, taking guarded tour. I think is that nope. That's just hard links. I could have swore there's an LFS section here that just talks about what all the file systems do. It's definitely in the essentials list of things that you need to know. But so far I'm not seeing any summary. This is a Linux command line book, so I wonder if it actually skips it, in which case I would definitely want to cover that during sometime, either during the Linux. This is something I'm probably going to annotate. Here we go, storage media. List of mounted file systems, creating new file systems with fdisk, which people don't even use anymore, CD-ROM images, which we don't use. See, this is why I have to make an annotation, because this storage media section is going to be really out of date. Searching for files, well, they might, someplace in here, we're going to talk about LFS. I haven't currently decided where that's going to be, but we need to talk about where things live on Linux. And it's more of a conversation about the Linux command line than it is the Linux itself. But yeah, positional parameters, strings and numbers. That's part 4, I think. Yep. So this pretty much doesn't talk about it at all. Huh. I thought it had it. I guess it doesn't have it. So maybe it's just missing it. What the heck? It's definitely a part of Linux Essentials, though. And yesterday we talked about that. The Linux Essentials, going to the LPI site and searching for LPIC0 Essentials, and then getting the outline for the stuff to learn from there. That's in the video yesterday. But that does include understanding the current working directory. There we go. Navigation, understanding the file system tree, page 7. Let's go see. So I don't think this actually gives you a full breakdown of what everything is. It just tells you it is there. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. This is the one that tells you about it, but it doesn't go into depth about what the different directories are. But I will. when we read about this, I'm definitely going to go through what all those directories mean. Okay. Yeah, so this is coming. It's probably going to come next week. We're going to try to divide that entire book up into what is it, 3? I think. Let me look at the schedule. We're going to be dividing that book up into, I think, 3 parts or 2 parts. Yeah, 2 parts. So we're covering that entire first 3 parts of the book, including the file system, in the first week, next week. And then the week after that is all shell scripting for the whole week. And that's when then we're going to make it utilities and go. So we're kind of jumping ahead. Tomorrow, in case you guys are wondering, tomorrow is all about virtual machines, which means running Linux on your local machine without messing with the current operating system that's on the computer. And so how to run Linux inside of another computer by making a virtual machine. And so if you've never heard of what that is, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But definitely put that on your learning agenda. Exploring the file system, you found it. Yep. We'll see a VPN used and mark it as fraud. We'll not see a VPN used and mark it as fraud. Oh, yeah. Check out Scoop. It's like app for Windows. Interesting. Haven't heard of that. I'll have to go look at that one. But I think we're about done for today. I do appreciate everybody checking in. And, what should you do? What are some learning activities? There's actually a lot of learning activities for you to do on your own this week that I'm not going to go into. So this, did the alias work? Nice. So my suggestion to you above all is get DigitalOcean, go ahead and get just one droplet running. Maybe try installing something on there that you want to install, and then consider keeping it around as a place for you to practice your server administration skills. Like, how do I keep it updated? Sudo apt update, all these things that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. Consider keeping it. But if you don't have the money to keep it or can't keep it, then just get rid of it right away, delete it, and then keep your account. I would, those of you who really want to master this cloud VM topic, please make sure that you try to create an AWS account and try playing with that. It's not beginner stuff, but if you truly want a sense of how this is going to be, you can at least attempt to create an AWS account so you have a contrast of that versus DigitalOcean. If you really want to, you might want to research Linode and see what's up with that. Why would you maybe want to use that instead, particularly if you're an Arch user? In a Docker container on a droplet. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, you can do all kinds of fun things. You can see Docker does let you add things without having to do packages. And we're going to talk a little bit about containers tomorrow, but not a lot. It's not really a beginner topic other than to know that they exist. Azure also has a free account and spending limits for new users. Yep. So I strongly encourage you this, at least today, or sometime this week, to try out as many cloud offerings as you can with Linux and get a feel for them. Yeah, try Google's free tier, and so that you can make an educated decision, and also so you can have an initial feel for what it means to set up these cloud servers. Saying that you have set up a Linux server on every one of the major enterprise, the major infrastructure as a service providers is a really big requirement to be able to put in your resume or something. You need to be able to say, yes, I have created a Linux host on Azure. Yes, I have created a Linux host on this. Yes, I've created it. So even if you don't keep it and you don't maintain it all the time, going through the motions for having done it on all of the major providers is going to count for a lot when it comes time to say, hey, do you know stuff? Yes, I've tried a server on everything, but I prefer DigitalOcean for the following reasons. Okay, if you yes, not to mention your SSH keys setup, right? So by the time you're done with all of that, your confidence will go up immensely, because you'll be like, man, I actually set up a Linux server on every major cloud provider. That's a pretty big feat. Let's see. The world is being built on the cloud, in the clouds, not on the ground, for better or worse. It's true. So if you can say that you have built a server, you've started up a server and run it, and let me go one other step further. I'll put this in the learning project summary at the bottom. I strongly advise you to install something on the server and get it running. That means Minecraft, Doom, whatever you want, just a basic web server. You know, you're going to have to do a lot of research to figure out how to start up that one thing. But okay, so saying that you set up a cloud server and then someone says, well, why did you do that? So, well, I was running a Minecraft server really quickly, or I was sampling, writing my own web server over there and just testing it out. So at least you can say you've had the experience, and more than that, you can come back to that experience later when you want to do more with it, and you can talk about infrastructure as a service and know what it means. So again, these are all things that are going to be listed in the learning projects and stuff you should know. But yeah, this is going to be saved as a VOD. Everything is saved as VODs, or it's going up on YouTube. So that's your goal. What should I do today? What you should do today is you should try as many cloud providers as possible and install servers on every one of those, and make sure, you can do a botnet if you want, and people do, right? So, if you really want a bonus challenge, create 2 different servers and connect from one of your servers to the other server using SSH. So that's a challenge for you. Like, make one server on Azure, make one server on DigitalOcean, and connect to the server on Azure from the server on DigitalOcean without disconnecting back to your home laptop. Practice making remote connections through SSH in the terminal, because ultimately that's what's up with terminal, right? And this is also one of the reasons that hackers really, really love IRC, text-based IRC, because they can run an IRC client, like a program like WeChat or ISSI, whatever, from any type of remote server and connect from another server. So this is where the terminal really wins again, because the terminal allows you to do lots of this kind. Just check your terminal service before you start. We're talking about it depends. I mean, connecting from one server to another server is not illegal. That's not going to be a thing. That can get expensive fast if it's not free tier. Yeah, I mean, of course, you're just trying out free tier for now, people, right? And we're not firing up a bunch of expensive servers like that. So yeah, everything should be, but you might just practice it. Yeah, but please, it's a good point. Make sure you watch your costs and you make sure to turn stuff off, because even a basic tiny little server will eventually add up and cost you money if you don't disable it. Okay, and it can come back and get you. We're starting out with EC2. EC2 is I think EC2 is the one that I remember. It's been a while since I've done Amazon. Let's go look. I had turned my Minecraft. Well, I guess I like the music, so. EC2 is their basic cloud offering, I think, still, right? Their infrastructure. EC2. Oh boy, what am I talking about? You know what? Once again, graphics fails me. EC2. All right, so here we go. Amazon Elastic Compute, Cloud Compute. Yep, that's the one. EC2. Yep, that's the one that lets you fire up your own machine. That's the one. So there you go. I'm actually going to call it for today. It's been really fun. Does anybody have anybody to raid? And then I'm going to get busy updating our documentation as much as I can. You guys have noticed that the site's changing all the time. rwx.gg is where all of this is being documented as best I can, trying to keep up. So Route 53 is our DNS, and maybe ACM. Good recommendations. Yeah. Do we have any? Let's see. Who's Optional just started his stream? Oh, nice. You know what? Why can it not iterate over my thing again? It's been having problems. It's been finicky. Maybe S3 before. S3 is just a bucket though, right? I don't know that I would do S3 and R53. That's just the DNS stuff. It's so hairy. Look, this is going to be, if you guys can just figure out how to add a Linux machine to your Amazon, that's a massive accomplishment given how complex Amazon is. If for no other reason, do that just to compare it with how easy it is to do in Linode or DigitalOcean. But a lot of the industry uses that stuff, so learning how to use it is important. And that applies to every one of our target occupations. Let me just remind you one more time before we go what the target occupations are for the Boost. Here they are: security analyst, software developer, web developer, system administrator. We're talking full stack web developer, site reliability engineer, and IoT embedded developer. So the stuff that we're doing on the Boost is meant to apply to every one of these target occupations equally. So when we decide whether something gets included in the stream, that's how we make the decision. So like there's no cloud engineering here. So, or DevOps, there's site reliability engineer is a DevOps position according to the book that Google wrote. It is a superset of skills from just regular DevOps engineer. So I guess that does count. But AWS, it also runs on Linux. Yes, it does. Let me see here though. What were we talking about? We were going to do, I was trying to figure out who to raid. How's it going, Milo? Twitch top. My Twitch top is not running lately. I'm kind of bummed out about that. Anyway, it's going pretty good. Pretty good. But we're going to go ahead and stop now. I don't have anybody to raid. So unless you guys have somebody to raid. Do you guys have someone? Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. You guys can find your own people to raid. Optional doesn't ever raid anybody else. So this is one of my criteria. I don't raid people who don't raid people because I just don't think it's cool. And so I would rather raid even Lana before she's even raided us. So before, I don't know. this is always such a hard part of the stream is to decide who to raid. It takes so much time. But, I'm willing to do it. I would rather find somebody small. That's so much more fun to sneak up on them. We're going to sneak up on them and raid them. I hear monsters. The monsters are scaring me. I'm telling you, those Minecraft monsters can get me muted. Let's see. Twitch TV. Here we go. Oh, wow. I'm going to be talking. Twitch. It's going to echo. Inception. Hey, 111. We have exactly 111 people. That's kind of weird. Less than X viewers have rated before, etc. Can you do that? That is great. I need to make a code for that. Oh, Disruptic. All right. He's got it. Oh, man, I'm using the interface. Rob says Emacs is a good OS. No, he doesn't. And you're using the exclamation point. You trying to get banned, Local Padre? Why are you doing that, my friend? You guys are saying stuff behind my back. Yeah, I might have to just undo that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Our space zone has been breached. Yes, I kind of wanted to let you guys have that. Just make sure you guys can have that. You back row people can have it. But, you know what I'm saying? Just keep it to like good stuff. X viewers have rated before. Wait, what are we doing? Disruptic. I'm okay with the peanut gallery. That exists. It's a thing. Hey, look. 16 viewers. 47 viewers. 68, 79. 98. We're going to even get over 100. Nope. Somebody left. I play Minecraft a little bit. But mostly I use it as a lure to get people into it. Alright, well, tell them hi for me. What are you talking about? The video isn't totally in sync. Check. Do. See ya. Hmm.